Let's bring in Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton. He's a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Couldn't have a better guest today. We did have a great guest a few months ago. When this, I call it the coup no coup, when it happened, Condoleezza Rice was on our show the very next morning. Listen to her here.
At one point, I thought, could this be staged? But you wouldn't stage something, I think, that makes you look so weak. Because really, dictators, authoritarians, rest on three principles. One is there has to be fear in the population. Secondly, you have to look invincible. Third, there can be no alternatives. Well, this has exploded all of those for Putin. It also has exploded his myth that the Ukrainian special military operation could take place without any effect on Russia.
Senator Cotton, in some ways, you know, we call it a mystery, but I think Putin's comments were chilling enough to realize that there might not be a mystery here at all.
Dana, I think that's right. I think what Secretary Rice said back during that mutiny was well put. I'm reminded of what Winston Churchill said about Kremlin political intrigues. It's like bulldogs fighting underneath the rug. You know it's happening, but you don't know what happened until the bones of the loser are thrown out, and then you can declare the victor. And it seems now that we have the victor in the struggle between Vladimir Putin and Yevgeny Prigozhin. As I said at the time of that coup back in June, America's interest is not really concerned about what strongman rules Russia, but rather that America has overwhelming military superiority against Russia, that we have friends and allies throughout Europe and Asia, from Finland to Saudi Arabia to Japan and all points in between, and that no one who leads Russia thinks that they can threaten America's interests.
One of the things that we are dealing with here on the state side is, and especially at the Wall Street Journal, their reporter, Evan Gershkovich, is being held, and the United States said this is ridiculous. He is not a spy. But Putin just extended his pretrial sentence by another 3 months. What do you think the Biden administration should do to get Evan back?
Well, unfortunately, the Biden administration encouraged Vladimir Putin to take Evan prisoner, just like they've encouraged Iran to take hostages as well, by continuing to pay ransom for Americans who have done nothing. Remember, we gave away Victor Bout, who was known as the Merchant of Death, an arms dealer that was an extension of Putin's government for years, in return for Brittany Griner, a basketball player, who was held unlawfully, certainly hadn't committed the kinds of arms control crimes that Victor Bout had. But when you engage in such exchanges, just like when you give Iran $6 billion for 4 wrongly detained Americans, you shouldn't be surprised when governments like Russia or Iran take more hostages. There are other ways to bring these Americans home, which we all want to see, but by engaging in these prisoner swaps or giving away billions of dollars in ransom, all we do is encourage more hostage taking.
So one of the things that's going to happen in the Congress pretty soon is the House and the Senate will have to take up the request by the Biden administration for more arms and aid to Ukraine. This was a little bit of a subject the other night at the Fox News debate in Milwaukee. Nikki Haley, she had something to say to Vivek Ramaswamy on stage. Watch here.
You are choosing a murder over a pro-American country.
First of all, Nikki, I wish you well in your future career on the boards of Lockheed and Raytheon.
No, I'm not on the boards of Lockheed and Raytheon. And want to go and defund Israel? You want to give
let me address that. I'm glad you brought that up.
You want to go and give Ukraine Russia? So the reality is, make America less safe. You have no foreign policy experience, and it shows.
And you know what? The foreign policy experience that you all have.
So that is a subject in the Republican primary debate. It's going to be a subject there on Capitol Hill as well. How do you think it will go?
Well, Dana, I think we'll pass legislation that will not only support Ukraine, but also support Taiwan. I can tell you that the bill President Biden submitted is probably dead on arrival. It has virtually nothing to support Taiwan. It supposedly provides money for border funding. What in reality, it's just going to be expediting the entry of more migrants into our country. So I suspect that Congress will rewrite that proposal. We'll focus more on military aid to Ukraine, less on economic and financial aid. That's something that Europe, especially Western Europe, can do. And we really need to increase funding for Taiwan as well, because Taiwan needs to urgently expand its military capabilities to defend itself against a potential Chinese invasion. So I do think the legislation will pass. I don't think it'll pass in the form that Joe Biden submitted it.
All right, Senator Tom Cotton, great to have you on the show. Enjoy your Friday.
Thank you.